Good morning, first graders. Hi, Kellen. Hi, Emerson. Hi, Zane. Oh, lots of people. Hi, Jose. Hi, Esmeralda. Hi, Penny and Charlie. Good morning. I don't know if you can tell in my voice today, but I'm a little sad. There's a lot of scary things going on in the world today, and I don't have any of the things I would use at school to help talk to you about them. So we're going to do the best we can today. And we're going to read some poems, and we're going to do some phonics and some math. And then I wasn't supposed to be able to see you today at 1 o'clock because I was going to school, but all the school buildings are closed. So we'll have a class today, and there's what I'll be able to use the internet then to show you some books and things that we can talk about, because I bet a lot of you are pretty scared and worried and confused, and I'm sorry that I am getting choked up, but it's hard to talk about, and it's hard to not be able to be with you and hug you. I'm sorry. There's just a lot of scary things happening in the world today. So we're going to read some Mr. Rogers poems, because the thing about Mr. Rogers said is he said, always look for the helpers. And I bet if you see the news today, there have been a lot of helpers. And you guys are helpers. And we're all helpers. That's why I wore my bucket filling shirt today. Because not everybody, when they were in school, learned about buckets. Not everybody thinks about other people's buckets all the time. They may only think about their friends' buckets or their family's buckets. But it can be really hard to think about a stranger's bucket. And that's what we all really need to be doing right now, is thinking about strangers' buckets and making sure that we're being helpers and that we're taking care of people that we don't even know. And that can be hard. We've talked about that on here because we can't see each other at these lessons, and sometimes we don't always take care of each other very well. And we have not always been saying nice things in the chat because it's really easy to be mean to someone we can't see. And when that happens to you over and over and over and over again, people get very frustrated and very mad. And a lot of people in the world are feeling that way right now. That people who've never seen them before and never have talked to them before are dipping in their buckets and making things not fair. Because they're not thinking about each person. They're not thinking about each person's bucket and how words and actions can really dip in someone's bucket, even if you've never seen them before. And there are scary things happening, for sure. And people who are doing scary things are not thinking about other people's buckets. And it's a really hard thing to understand what's going on right now. And it's a really hard thing to talk about. And we're going to try to do that at 1 o'clock today. I don't have any books here that I would share with you. I was supposed to be able to go to school today, but I can't. So I don't really have the things that I would normally use to talk about hard things like this. But with the internet, I'll be able to show you some books, and we're going to be able to talk a little bit about what's going on in Chicago and lots of other places today. So, yeah, I'm sorry to start your Monday off in kind of a sad way, but there's a lot of sad things happening, and we have to talk about sad things. And I actually looked in our book today because Mr. Rogers has some things to say about that. The first one, we've read this one already, but it's called It's Good to Talk. And it is. When scary and sad things are happening, if we don't talk about them, they just get bigger in our brain, and they become scarier and sadder, and they become worse if we don't talk about them. So we're going to talk about them this afternoon when we can. But here's what Mr. Rogers has to say about it. It's good to talk. It's good to talk. It's good to say the things we feel. It's good to talk. We're much more real without the lot. Hi, Elijah. It's good to talk. It's good to find someone to trust. It's good to talk. We know we must do more than balk. People weren't born to be silent. Our tongues make wonderful sounds. Just try a few phrases for practice. You'll see there are very few bounds. Let's see now. I like you. I'm angry. I'm happy. I'm sad. You see, that's not bad. It's good, not bad. It's good to talk. It's good to say the things we mean. It's good to talk of all we've seen and heard and felt for and wished and knelt for. We need to talk more. It's good to talk. And that's what a lot of people are doing right now. They're frustrated and they're scared and they're sad, and they're going onto the streets and they're talking. And some people are making decisions that are hurting other people, but most people just want to talk, and most people just want to be heard. But a lot of other people are feeling this way. What do you do with that mad feeling? There are lots of people who are very mad right now and very frustrated. And sometimes we don't always do the right thing when we're feeling mad. And that's why we talk about it at school when we get mad and we learn to calm down, right? We say, I am mad. We put our hands on our bellies and we take deep breaths. Because we can't make good decisions if our brains are full of mad. We don't make our best decisions that way. So when we're feeling really mad or we're feeling really frustrated, we've learned at school and through Second Step, we have to calm down first. We have to separate ourselves, take some deep breaths, and calm down. So then we can make good decisions. It's okay to be mad, but it's not okay to hurt other people's buckets and to hurt other people's things. But it can be really hard to do that sometimes, especially when lots of people are feeling mad at the same time about the same thing. It can be really hard to calm down. And not everybody learns the same things that we do. At school, we're learning how to calm down and we're learning about buckets, but not everybody learns that at school or at home. So we have to be the ones who help. We have to be the helpers, and we have to say when we feel people getting angry to help them calm down and help them make good decisions, because anger can help make good decisions. It's okay to be angry and mad about things that are wrong, but it's not okay to solve them by hurting. And I think a lot of people are having a hard time with that right now. They're so mad and they're so angry that they're not able to calm themselves down to make good decisions. But that's where we come in. That's where helpers come in and bucket fillers come in. We have to help people calm down and see what the right way to solve problems is. And most of the time, that's just by thinking about what the other person is saying and what the other person is saying that they need. And a lot of times, that's the solution. And Mr. Rogers has a poem about what to do when we're mad. And it's a lot about what we talk about at school. What do you do with the mad that you feel when you feel so mad you could bite? When the whole wide world seems oh so wrong and nothing you do seems very right? What do you do? Do you punch a bag? Do you pound some clay or some dough? Do you round up friends for a game of tag or see how fast you go? It's great to be able to stop when you've planned a thing that's wrong and be able to do something else instead and think this song. I can stop when I want to, can stop when I wish. I can stop anytime. And what a good feeling to feel like this and know that the feeling is really mine. Know that there's something deep inside that helps us become what we can. For a girl can be someday a woman, and a boy can be someday a man. All right. So, if you're watching the news or your parents are watching the news and you hear of scary things that are happening, we have to remember that not everybody has lived a kind of life that we've had. Not everybody has the same kind of parents or school or house that we have. And people can feel frustrated and people can feel mad. And what we can do in the situation is be helpers and be bucket fillers and use what we know about solving problems to help other people solve problems and to think about other people's buckets, whether you know them or not, whether you've ever met a person or not. Everyone has a bucket, right? We know that. And problems happen when people stop thinking about buckets and start dipping in people's buckets that they don't even know. And that's a lot of what's happening right now. So we'll talk about it later today at 1:00, where I can show you some books. But for now, let's think a little bit about our IXL topics for the week. And practice some of those things. So, for reading, we're going to practice adding endings to words, adding ed or ing. Ed is a part you add to the word when you talk about something that already happened. So maybe you hopped across the grass, or you biked to the store, or you baked a cake. Those are already things that have already happened in the past. When you add ing to a word, you're talking about doing something right now. You are listening. I am talking. You are watching. I am writing. So ing is talking about things that happen right now. But we know lots of magic E words, and magic E words, of course, have a special rule, because don't they always have a special rule? So if we're going to write the word hiding, maybe you're playing hide and go seek and you say, I am hiding in the bathroom. Hide is a magic E word. Can't tell if that's right. Hide. So before we stop, I didn't mean to scare anybody. I don't want to scare anybody. But there are scary things happening, and it's okay to be scared. And the best thing to do is talk to the people at your house that you love about why you're scared, and to listen to those people and to think about their buckets and to think about all of the buckets of the people who are on the news and why they might be acting and feeling the way that they're feeling. So I didn't mean to scare anybody. But if you are feeling scared, when we're done, you should talk to your moms and dads and your family members about why you're feeling scared, and think about buckets, your buckets, the people on the news, the people who are in the videos on the news. Think about those buckets and why people might be acting the way that they are. Okay? All right. So if you have a magic E word and you're adding, if you're trying to say hiding, I am hiding in the bathroom, before you add ing, you have to take off the E. So when you have a magic E word, you have to drop the E to add ing. Just like if you wrote the word biking, biking. I am biking around the block. Well, we start with the word. This is how you spell the word bike. But we don't just add ing. No, we have to take the E away first. So we take away the E and add ing. B-I-K-I-N-G. Very good. The same for the word baking. I am baking banana bread. I know that we spell bake, B-A-K-E, but we drop the E to add I-N-G. Baking. Baking. If you want to say you baked a cake, because bake already has an E, we don't add another E. That looks silly. We just add the D because there's already an E there. We baked a cake. We are baking a cake. We baked a cake. Good. Let's see which other ones. Let's try the word chase. Chase. My dog likes to chase the ball. So let's start with the word chase. Ch. Oops, that's a backwards A. Ch. A. S. Chase. If you say my dog is chasing the ball, we have to take away the E and add I-N-G. Chasing. Very good. If you said my dog chased the ball, he chased the ball maybe earlier today, it ends with ED. Chased. Good. So that's one rule. If the word ends with an E, you drop the E to add ing, and instead of adding two E's for ed, you just add the D. Here's another rule. When words end with a single consonant, that means one consonant sound, you have to double it before you add the ending. It's tricky. So for a word like hop, hop. I can hop on one foot. It has one letter that makes one sound at the end. So before we add our endings, we have to double this letter. That means we have to add another one. So if you said I hopped across the yard, hopped, we would have to add P and then ED. And I know it kind of sounds like a t sound, but that ED sound makes that sound. I hopped across the yard. If you are hopping on one foot, you have to do the same thing. You have to add another P before ING. Hopping. Very good. Let's try some more. Let's try the word run. Run. I like to run. Right? We can write that in a snap. This one's tricky because we don't say runned. I runned down the block. We say I ran down the block. Sometimes you have to change different parts of the words to talk about the past. But you do say running. I am running across, I'm running down the street. So to turn run into running, we have to add another N before we add I-N-G. Good job. How about the word stop? Stop. I see the stop sign. Stop. So you could say the car is stopped at the light. Because it has that one P at the end, we have to double it before adding ED, stopped. If you're going to say we are stopping at the store, you need two P's and I-N-G, stopping. All right, let's try a sentence. Ready? I go running every day with my dog. I go running every day with my dog. I go running. Think about how we have to turn run into running. I go running with. I go running with my dog. D-A-G. I go running with my dog every's kind of tricky. Every day. D-A. I go running with my dog every day. You ready to see it? I, capital I. Go, G-O. Running. Here's the word run. We have to double the N before we add I-N-G. R-U-N-N-I-N-G. With my dog every day. I go running with my dog every day. Very good. Okay. All right, so for your math on IXL, you're talking about measurement this week. And so measurement is thinking about how long or wide or heavy or hot or cold something is. You use measurement all the time for cooking, for deciding how cold it is outside, how warm it is outside. We practice these things all the time. So the ones that you're going to work on today and tomorrow, one of them is called hold more or hold less. So you'll be looking at pictures and deciding which one holds more. Something like this or something like this. Now I have these are pins for sewing. But if they were full, which would be able to hold more pins? This bucket or this one? This one would, right? Look at how much taller and wider it is. you'd be able to fit way more many pins in here than you would here. How about between these two things? Which could you hold more? Which one would hold less? This one holds less, and this one holds more. A cool way you could try this at home is pick up different containers and fill them with water, and then put one in a measuring cup and see how high it goes. And then fill this one with water and put it in a measuring cup and see how high it goes. And you would find that this one holds more. So that would be an easy thing to do at home. And that's how we would practice at school. So you're talking about more or less today. And you're also talking about size. So some size words you might hear are bigger or smaller, right? So you would look at one of those jars was bigger and one of those jars was smaller. You might come across the words heavier and lighter. Which one's heavy and which one's lighter? Lots of these words have to do with opposites. You might have words that are about taller and shorter. These are both crayons, but one is taller and one is shorter, right? So those are your topics that you're going to work on the next few days, taller and shorter. And then we'll also practice measuring. And I'll bring some materials to our lesson tomorrow about measuring. I don't have a story to read to you today. I just don't have one that feels like the right kind of story to read today. But we'll read a story this afternoon at 1 o'clock. I'll tell your parents that we are going to have a class at 1 o'clock today, and we'll talk a little bit more about what's been happening in Chicago and what's been happening around the world. And just like we read in Mr. Rogers, it's good to talk. So if you're scared or if you are worried or if you don't know what's happening, we'll talk about it today, and hopefully we can all feel a little bit better just by saying it out loud, saying how we're feeling, and maybe learning a little bit about what's going on in the world and what's making people feel so sad and mad. Okay? I'm sorry if I scared anybody today or made anybody upset, but everybody gets upset and everybody gets scared, and teachers get scared and parents, and for everybody the best thing to do is talk about it. I wish I could give everybody a hug today and see all of your faces, but we'll see each other at 1 o'clock today, okay? Keep those buckets full, be a helper, take care of your family and your friends and people that you can't even see, okay? And that you don't even know. Let's focus on that today, all right? Bye, bucket fillers. I'm counting on you guys today. Bye.